Let's talk about something that's on every engineering leader's mind. It's this nagging question. Are you really in control of your cloud infrastructure, or is it controlling you? We're going to get right into it.
And hey, that's a serious question, because for way too many teams out there, the big promise of cloud agility, it's kind of turned into this daily battle against a sprawling, super complicated ecosystem that feels like it has a mind of its own. You know, just a few years ago, the whole game was about adopting tools like Kubernetes. But now the goalposts have totally moved. The new challenge isn't just about getting to the cloud anymore, it's about trying to survive the crushing complexity once you're already there. Right now, technical leaders are basically fighting a war, and it's on three separate fronts. Each one is just constantly demanding attention and resources. So first, you've got the human cost, this absolutely unsustainable cognitive load. Your best engineers are just getting burned out, forced to be experts in like a dozen different systems just to keep the lights on. Then, bam, there's the financial pressure. Cloud bills are spiraling out of control, and you bet the finance department is starting to notice. And finally, you've got this regulatory maze of sovereignty and compliance, which forces you into a multi-cloud world whether you like it or not. All of this, it adds up to a hidden cost, a cost that most engineering orgs are paying, even if they don't realize it. We're going to call it the platform tax. And what is it really? Well, simply put, the platform tax is every single ounce of energy your team spends on the plumbing. You know, stitching tools together, managing clusters, fighting fires, instead of building the features your customers actually pay for. And this tax, it has a very real, very human cost. I mean, to ship even a simple API today, a developer has to be an expert in Kubernetes, Terraform, and multiple cloud IAM systems. That's not just inefficient, it's a one-way ticket to burnout for your best people. Then there's the financial bleeding. We're talking about what are called zombie costs. You know what I mean, those dev environments that are running 24/7, the idle clusters just burning through the budget, and that massive over-provisioning just in case. It's this huge hidden waste that makes your cloud bill grow way faster than your business. And maybe the most frustrating piece of the puzzle is what some people call day two hell. Yeah, setting up a cluster, that's one thing, but the endless, soul-crushing cycle of patching, upgrading, securing, and scaling that cluster across different clouds, it's a total nightmare that just kills innovation and developer velocity. Okay, wow, that sounds pretty bleak, right? But what if there was a way to get out of this vicious cycle? Well, the good news is there is an exit ramp from all this infrastructure chaos. And that exit ramp, it's a whole new category of tool called the Adaptive Cloud Platform. So we're going to take a look at the one that really defines this space, control plane. So what is it? Well, think of control plane like getting that amazing serverless experience, but it's running on your own cloud accounts. It takes all your compute from AWS, GCP, Azure, even your on-prem servers, and pulls it all together into one single unified system that your developers can actually use without pulling their hair out. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds a little bit like magic, but let's actually pull back the curtain and see the core concepts that make this whole thing possible. Okay, so the first big idea here is the Global Virtual Cloud, or GVC, and this is a really fundamental shift. Instead of telling your app where to run, like put this in AWS US East 1, you just tell it what it needs. You define a policy, something simple like run this in the US and Europe with 3 replicas. You deploy to this logical space, and control plane takes care of all the hard parts. It intelligently places your workload and automatically handles failover if a provider has an outage. It's a game changer. This approach also solves one of the biggest headaches in a multi-cloud world, identity. Just look at the old way on the left. What a mess, right? Juggling secret keys for every single service, it's a huge security risk. But with control plane, your code just works. The platform automatically injects temporary, short-lived credentials at runtime. No more static keys to leak or manage. It's incredible. And the outcome for your team is just transformative. They are no longer in the business of managing clusters, rotating credentials, or babysitting infrastructure. They can finally just focus on writing code. But you're probably wondering, okay, but what about accessing stuff inside my private network, like a database? Well, that's handled by something called the Cloud Wormhole. It's this lightweight little agent that creates a secure tunnel from your private network out to the GVC. And because it's outbound only, it doesn't expose your network to inbound threats. This lets your new apps talk to your old systems like they're right next to each other, all without needing complex VPNs or a bunch of firewall changes. So the tech is really cool, for sure. But what does this actually mean for the business? Well, it all boils down to two huge benefits: savings and sanity. First up, let's talk savings. Big savings. Instead of paying for capacity you might use, you only pay for what you actually consume. We're talking about features that scale workloads all the way down to zero when they're idle, and something called millicore sizing, which literally means using tiny fractions of a CPU. This can lead to a 50% reduction in compute spend, especially for all those non-production environments. That's huge.
So let's see where control plane fits in the whole landscape. On one side, you've got do-it-yourself Kubernetes. Yeah, it gives you total control, but it's incredibly complex and expensive. On the other side, you've got your traditional platform as a service, or PaaS. Super easy to use, but you totally sacrifice control and data privacy. Control plane just hits that sweet spot right in the middle. You get the ease of a PaaS, but with the control, the cost efficiency, and the data privacy that comes from running everything on your own cloud accounts.
And look, this isn't some toy project. This is built for the enterprise from day one. It's got all those critical security and compliance guardrails that large organizations absolutely require. Things like SOC 2 compliance for security audits, automatic encryption between all services, tamper-proof audit trails, and of course, single sign-on integration. Which brings us right back to our main idea here. This isn't just another tool you add to the pile. No, it's a fundamental shift in how you even think about cloud infrastructure. It really is your exit ramp. Ultimately, the goal is this, plain and simple. It's to get your team out of the business of building an internal platform company and back to the business they were actually hired for, building and shipping your core product. So I'll leave you with this one final thought, and I want you to seriously take a moment and ask yourself, if your engineers could get back all the time they're currently spending fighting that platform tax, what incredible things could they be building for your customers instead?